stresses from life that we have today.
No,
right?
and that's and I love where you went there with it, because that's why we're trying to do this kind of group, right? That's why we're trying this kind of meetup to call attention to that, right? That we're pushed too many ways, we're stretched too thin, right? That we need a call to action to sit and relax and take some time in for ourselves. And that's the challenge of this space here, is to get people to do that. That's why we're recording these things, right? So wellness wherever you are. If you can't make it here in person because your life and this and that, or maybe you don't live anywhere near New Kent, okay, cool. We'll be able to tune in and still get the goodness in a different way, right? Because we need a healing, right? We need a healing. And this is what we're going to be doing.
What's nice about this spot too is in the summer when it gets a little warmer, I can jog over here. It'll be an extra exercise for me. That'll be my mindfulness time to come to mindfulness time.
Right. Well, and that's why we're starting out in the cold February, right?
I was gonna walk today, but I was like, oh, if the sun goes down, it's gonna be a little cold when the sun goes down.
Here, right? This is the first one, hopefully, of very many.
Oh, Santo, that's good. That right there in and of itself is a mindful wood.
That's what she handed it to me. I was like, oh, I love these things. I'll sit here and I'll roll it. I'll roll it. It's kind of like my rock.
Yeah.
Kind of like my rock. I roll my rock. I roll both of them at the same time.
Well, it's a process too. Like, you can just cut down. So it's like sandalwood, or if you're gonna do frankincense, if someone is uninitiated or doesn't know what it is, it's just a piece of wood gets cut, gets thrown out, or gets in the fire or whatnot.
Kindling.
Yeah.
Kindling.
But if you dry it, if you treat it properly, if you take that extra time out, and that's, back to the mindfulness piece, we take that step back and we look at it. Yeah.
No,
right? I don't know. I didn't even think about toothpicks with it. That's a mindful exercise in and of itself. I've tried whittling before, and that
whittling is wild. That is a wild hobby. That is a wild hobby. I can see the thing in my head, and I can't make it do the thing. It's like most art for me. I'm an artist of the mind. I can lead on breathing exercises.
That's where we need you. That's where we need you. I'll do crafty stuff. You fix my brain. I'll fix your house.
Great.
But back to our,
it's what happens in these kinds of scenarios.
Flower, bud, and thorn. I mean, those are things we can really relate to, and even if our bud at the time we're at in our space in that moment is, we're compounded with all kind of negative. There's one small thing that we can, it could be that cup of coffee that I'm going to have in the morning. It could be that meetup with a friend, or it could be that phone call, or that, that walk with the dog.
Yep.
Or just that fact that sun's going to come out. Or for me, I like snow. So in the minute a snowstorm comes, that for me is a bud. I enjoy it.
What happens when you live in northern Michigan for a few years? Changes you.
Yeah, it does.
I went to Minnesota for a month, man. It was negative 32. I said, I'm coming back. Screw this, man. They had more snowmobile roads than they did roads, man. I was like, this is crazy.
Oh, yeah, you go on a snowmobile for hundreds of miles. You can go from the bottom of Michigan all the way up to the Upper Peninsula. You gotta wait for Lake Michigan and Huron to freeze, so you can drive over.
What's that? Like 9 months out of the year?
Yeah. But,
I have to wait 3 days for it to freeze.
These guys are crazy. It's one. I've gone ice fishing and I've walked out on that ice. But it's another thing to put a truck
out there.
A 1,000-pound machine.
A burning barrel.
One thing, a
burning barrel.
Right? Put your foot out and tap it and see if you can walk across, right? But they're straight just like
a burning barrel fishing. I'm like,
I thought it was bad enough that the snowmobile goes out. When they start bringing their trucks out, that's a whole nother story.
With a burning barrel. A burning barrel next to a big monster truck out there. I said, you guys are insane.
No, so I swear I like that rosebud thorn.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that exercise. Try to just get people thinking of maybe what isn't so great in life, but also really focus on the good.
And it helps relate, so as you were sharing some of your thorns, I'm going back into my life and thinking, for the past couple of years, we've been involved in some caregiving with girlfriend's mom and dad. We lost him to Alzheimer's and Parkinson, which is a combination. And talk about thorns, I mean, those were thorns. I didn't even know were going to start coming up, and it was just like
wham.
For a while there, it was like being in a briar patch.
Yeah.
You couldn't get out of it. But there's that knowing that, eventually the leaves are going to come. Eventually something's going to break on that. Somehow, some way you're going to move through it. But you learn a lot in those thorns. I think out of necessity, you learn you're just not going to grab that and hold on tight.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, you find a way to kind of finish your.
Right.
You respect that it's there,
Right.
And you have a.
And that goes back to that power of choice. It's just going to continue to be a theme of all of this because it's one of my biggest parts of my theoretical orientation, right? Choice theory. You don't get a choice of what happens to you in life, but you get a choice in how you respond.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's why I work so many clients on that prevent defense, right? Doing groups like this, practicing exercises like Rosebud Thorn, things like that to get us ready, right? To have the mental fortitude so when life gets lifey, when people get people, when work gets worky,
for that.
right? You're ready.
I got a tool for that.
I got this whole toolbox to choose from,
That's
right?
it.
And you exercise, you activate your self-care, and you get your way through, right? Because a lot of these emotions we deal with, the book I love, I forget the author's name, it's Whole Brain Living. She's a neurobiologist that had a stroke, so she had like part of her brain shut down. And she's the kind of brain person that knows how it does all the things.
Yeah.
So she came up with a 90-second rule for most emotions. I say it's more about 5 minutes, right? About 5. If you can let that roller coaster do its thing and stay in control, you can ride these things out or ride these situations out. You can access your mindfulness and access these coping skills and get through it. But you got to train yourself. It takes time, and that's what we're doing here.
But it's even like with me with being sober, quitting drinking 15 years ago. A lot of the times, like even now, like in the summer, 90-degree day, 10 or 12-hour day, pouring concrete, I'm dead, tired. End of the day, I can still taste a fucking beer every once in a while, and that's 3 to 5 seconds. If you let that 3 to 5 seconds pass 9 times 10, like I know I won't drink a beer at all, and I don't want to drink a beer ever again. But if I know I get through that 5 to 7 seconds, it ain't gonna happen.
Right, and it's skills like this that can help that. Right? Recognizing the roses and the buds, right?
So just knowing if I drink that beer, there's gonna be thorn after thorn after thorn after thorn, and no bud and no rose in sight.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. And it does, and it will abate. It will pass. It's like watching clouds. I mean, you can sit there and that cloud.
Or snowstorm.
Yeah.
This too shall pass.
You said
I said that, and then 2 feet later.
So you said you had 2 exercises. One was a cool icebreaker.
Yeah.
What was the second one?
Well, our second one was going to be more of a group dynamic.
So we'll save it for next time?
Here. We can do that, or it's just I think we'll do an introduction to it. There's a
little preview then, huh?
Yeah. We have a power that we can tap into at any time, and that is that mindfulness piece. And the depths of that are deeper than Lake Superior, deeper than Loch Ness. There's some stuff down there that's just absolutely amazing. But we're not all deep sea divers. We're not getting down there right away. Hell, if I get down there, I might not be coming back up. There's some cool stuff down there.
Rocks.
Oh, I'll rock out right there. So it's the power of using our breath. I think Ryan was introducing that a little bit.
Yes, because one of the things I want to do tonight is some square breathing or box breathing.
And I'll let that one, kind of slide into your introduction for that. Mine was concentrating on that power that we have that is so portable because we're doing it all the time.
That's the biggest
thinking.
And that's the biggest reason I start with so many clients on deep breathing.
Yeah.
Because we have to breathe to be alive. You have to. And it's one of those coping skills, one of those wellness strategies you can take everywhere you go. Right? Music kind of depends on where you're at. Sometimes food, access to a shower, going on a walk. Those are all great coping skills, but you don't always have access to those things. Breathing
and humming. And humming.
Unless you're dead,
realizing a lot.
You have an ability to breathe. And I think that's just where it's such an important thing to start. And especially with this group, one of the biggest things I want early on in our group is to do more of a simple breathing exercise just to help us figure out that body awareness, figure out where our brain space is. What is our intention for the day? What do we want to get out of this, right? And then as we move through the group, doing more other exercises, this and that, and then returning to that breath at the end and seeing what kind of changes are there. Is the voice inside our head quiet? Yeah. Right? Do we have the same kind of worries? Do we have the same kind of weight? Right? I really want people to recognize that awareness that after a short time here, just listen to us yahoos talk about things, how much calmer they can be. Right?
And it was in Buddhism that I got introduced to never say his name, but it's Tai Han.
Don't ask me those names. I feel so bad. Pushing the hell out.
Where his kind of story came from was from the Vietnam War in Laos and over in the Southeast Asia, and having to deal with absolute destruction of his country and his people and his way of life. You know, that's how he found a way to begin his mindfulness training. Was, you know, early on it was passed on to him, and it was something that was ingrained in his everyday life, but his concentration on breath, I really thought, was just powerful. And again, it's a portability, it's that, you know, we have that, we take it for granted often, that we, like He-Man, Masters of the Universe on that one. You guys remember that one?
They're coming out of the movie. They're coming out of the movie. They're coming out of the movie.
It's,
They're coming out of the movie. They're coming out of the
sweet.
movie. There's a trailer. You can watch the trailer. It's
It's got
She-Ra
She-Ra again. Mothman, Skeletor. But it's the mantra that came with it. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. So it's saying that to ourselves as we engage in that activity of breathing. And as Ryan was saying, to quiet that monster kind of inside. And you do it for a while. You know, in the activity I was going to do where we would sit for 13 minutes. I like that 13-minute time because it kind of hits a brainwave scan for us where we're almost in that deep relaxation set, but not too much. We're just kind of outskirts. We're just right on that level right there.
And I like that kind of number because the studies have been showing if you take that 10 to 20 minutes a day, right, that dedicated time in for yourself, doing whatever wellness strategy it is, activating that mindfulness, right, that is where you're growing the healthy brain fibers. That's where you're strengthening your prefrontal cortex, right? The prefrontal cortex is the quarterback of your brain, especially those of us with trauma and need to scrub all that residue off. You know, that kind of dedication can be really powerful to grow that healthier brain, to have the mental fortitude to deal with life's bullshit.
28 days of something straight forms a habit. And that's why most rehab facilities are 28-day programs.
Right? That longevity, that consistency is important.
And you'll do
It
it
really
without
is.
even noticing.
And I like that phrasing that you had there for the inhale and exhale. It was very pretty. It was much nicer than what I like to say, which is in with the good shit and out with the bullshit.
Well, I like that too because that's reality.
Bumper sticker, Buzz, bumper sticker material there.
I'm taking that one.
I love that. As he's shown in my clients. In with the good shit. Out with the bullshit.
Bumper stickers are available on the website.
No, and I think that's where us doing this kind of group together to teach different approaches, right? I think that's the thing with the breathing exercise. There's a lot of different ways to do breathing exercises. Sometimes they're like, oh man, that one works for me. Sometimes it's like, nah, that one isn't cool. Right? So we gotta figure out what works for people.
Well, it's adding that mantra like that, like you did, right? That takes us out of that moment of all that other shit that we're doing.
Mantras are a powerful thing, and that's one of the things.
We develop our own personal mantra, and that's a challenge out there. Once you get involved in that, come up with what works for you.
Right now, my mantra is I can.
I like that.
That's what I've been working with. I can.
Yeah.
Mine right now is my turn. My turn.
That's
I'm
a good one too.
focused on mine. It's my turn right now. From last week to now, it's my turn. Literally over weekend, it's my turn.
I like it.
My turn.
We need those things.
It's my new focus. It's my turn. It's my turn in life to fix shit that I need to fix for me. It's my turn.
And that's powerful because that brings out a motivational factor.
I started off last Friday with a 9-mile walk. The sun came out. I was gone. I was gone.
That's that choosing self-care, right? Life gets lifey. You got to do something about it.
I wanted to do like 5 or 6, but I ended up doing 9. But I've kind of felt that.
Well, so that's the thing. Once you get into something, you'll find that you're pushing your own limits without feeling like you're pushing them. You're engaged, and it becomes fun. It becomes something that is enjoyable.
Or you go to the end of a trail and it says no trespassing, turn around. You have to go back 3 miles and you didn't think you had.
Or it happened to me when I was out in the middle of snow. I was out in the
Usually
woods.
after the no trespassing, that means it's better. That motivates me to go.
No, it was stupid. I was getting my daughter in an hour and I had to get back, so I had to make sure I got back.
Right?
and not get shot by somebody in the middle of the
Well,
woods.
yeah, that's true.
Especially nowadays, man. You can't trust that
Nowadays,
stuff, dude.
Yeah, there was one no traffic sign. Well, I kept going, but there were like 15 of them. I was like, this didn't mean
It's when they
business.
put the trail cams up that I'm like, okay. Especially when they hide them. You know, they go out in these little spaces.
I like the
It's
moon.
like,
That
where do you
reminds me
spend
of
that?
moon. Moon. We're going there.
Who spends that much time to put them out though?
Hunters. I mean,
If that's what they're using them for,
Yeah,
I think it's
right.
interesting. People are using it more for to check on their property and things like that. It's fascinating. So we have 25-ish minutes because I want to
Yeah.
try to keep this around an hour for today. Do we want to do more of like an organized breathing exercise, kind of more of an organized meditation here? Since we've been talking about all of this for a while now.
I think it's a
We want to grab some. Let's grab some chairs maybe so we can sit and be a little comfy.
You want to sit that stool back here, or you want to sit on one of these?
I'll sit on these. Oh yeah. And I like the fact that we took a moment to take a seat and get comfy. I think that is a big part of meditations and breathing exercises. Is trying to get yourself comfy, but maybe not too comfy.
Well, it's kind of exercising. You kind of stretch before you go exercise.
Right. Right. So you want to be comfy. I do lay down quite often when I do breathing exercises and things like that, but we have to be careful because we don't necessarily want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So going to sleep isn't the worst thing in the world because it just means you were very relaxed. But sometimes to get the real benefit of this exercise, being awake is more important. So maybe you're sleepy, maybe it's at the end of the night, getting ready for go to bed. Yeah, not a big deal if you want to lay down and do a meditation.
To help you go to sleep.
Right,
versus using it to mindfulness.
Right, but
There's
if
a
you're starting
difference.
off
There's
your
also a
day,
difference in that I think, too.
we want to do a good job. And please, we want to always remind people to do what feels right. There's not a real right or wrong way to do these exercises. We don't want anybody hurting themselves in the name of self-care. I do 20 to 30 minutes of meditating every day. I'm really good at deep breathing, really good at it. Don't try to always match my pacing, my cadence, my breaths. Do your own thing within the guidelines and kind of what we're leading here. So we're gonna start here by taking 5 deep breaths. And it's funny that I picked this one tonight because I forgot I picked this one. But we're gonna be using that mantra that I talked about a little bit ago. In with the good shit, out with the bullshit. Okay? You can say it out loud if you want to. You can say it inside your head if you want to. But adding those words in can be a very powerful thing to try to set the tone, right? And this is definitely something we want to be translatable and have other people kind of pick up on and work with, right? So we're gonna take 5 deep breaths here, saying, in with the good shit, out with the bullshit. So let's go ahead and take one big deep breath here. Let's get started. In with that good shit, hold it, and then out with the bullshit. Let's pause for a second before we inhale again. Nice slow deep breath in with that good shit. We're gonna hold it and work to slowly exhale. Out with the bullshit. We're gonna inhale again. We're gonna hold it and then slowly exhale. Two more times. Big breath in with that good shit. Slow with the exhale. Out with that bullshit. Take a big breath in. Last one here. Big breath. Hold it. Slowly let it out. Out with all that bullshit.
Quick question, statement, ponder.
Okay.
Now, when like weightlifting and stuff like that, now when you're breathing during an exercise, you like in when you go down, out when you go out, and or in your nose, out your mouth. Is there a difference in that for the people out there in the virtual world?
Yes, there is.
Like in your nose, out your mouth, in your mouth, out your nose. Like does one help your muscles better? Does one help the tension? One, you know what I mean? Does one help the stress level more than the muscle rebalancing or whatever. Like
There's in the bilateral breath, sometimes when you're coming, like, we'll sometimes close off a part of the nose and you're breathing in through one nostril intentionally, and you'll feel a difference when you do that. No, the physiological I can't speak on, but I know it exists. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys.
I think
impacts a part
maybe
of
something to think about. You know, as far
for
as
me, the science is kind of showing that doing it in different ways, in one way, out the other, is what's most beneficial because you're activating both circuits of your brain there.
I just want to sort of
And
better
that's
in
where-
one way or out the other way.
I don't think it
Or
matters
switch- maybe
necessarily.
switch up and see what works better for you. Like
Right.
once again.
And that's where, sometimes you do alternate nostril, right? Sometimes you go in your nose, out your mouth, in your mouth, out your nose. There's all kinds of variants there. I think, again, as long as you're trying your best to do in one way, out the other, to kind of access both sides of your breathing, I think is an important thing.
Well, that's the beauty of it too, is because once you get started in that and it becomes an everyday practice, you find what works for you.
Right. Once you get back to what works for you, don't
And
get
that's the
hurt.
biggest
Don't
thing.
hurt yourself.
Right?
Mindfulness.
Just find that what works. Right?
Okay.
Well, there's studies for I think it's the 4-second breath, 4 in, 4 out, 4 hold, 4 go, and that's one that they use that's a Navy SEAL training.
Yep, that's the box breathing, the square
That's where
breathing.
you're at
Is that
with
what that is?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
There's
there is-
also
That makes sense. 4, 4, 4, 4.
there's
yeah.
also
there is some physiological.
Well, that's what I say. Yeah, it builds.
And-
One builds muscle, one relieves stress, so to speak.
and that's where the exhale, it can be so important to slow that down as much as you can to really let the body do its thing and reset itself.
as opposed to like a
Right.
force.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
But it's funny though is there's other breathing exercises that are where you're like purposely like over oxygenating your blood, and that has its own effect, right? So that's where with this kind of group we're going to be doing all these, not all once, but over a period of time, right? Each meeting we're going to do something a little different with the breath because it is such an important way to focus that mindfulness.
Sorry.
No.
I figured that was important.
That's what
important.
we
Great
want from
question,
this group,
because
right? We
I'm
want
sure
a
others
discussion.
out there have that question.
Yeah, so I figured.
No, we want the discussion. We want people to better understand mental health and all that goes with it, right? So during these exercises, if something like that comes up, we want people to ask. Because we want you to take this home and use it, right?
Right.
So if you get stuck wondering, well, does it matter this
Then
or
you're not
that?
gonna want to do it. You're like,
Maybe
oh,
you don't do
I'll
it.
message them later, and
But
then you
if
don't
we-
message them, and now
But
you're
if we
not
tell
doing it
you,
at all.
hey, it doesn't really matter, do what's comfortable for you, you might go home now and figure out whether you want to do in your mouth,
Try
out
it
your
3
nose, in your
different ways
mouth,
from
out your
Sunday.
nose.
I'll try it 3
Right? You
different
might
ways
want
from
to do
Sunday.
alternate, not right?
Right.
You might try that more. So please ask those questions, right?
Well, then it opens up for that exploration.
Right.
And that's where
And that way, then you do know which way is better for you, rather than.
yeah, because coping skills are a personal thing, right? And that's where as we're moving forward here, we're going to be working on a grounding exercise, really kind of checking in with our senses, right? This can be another one of those coping mechanisms that can travel with you, right? Much like breathing, everywhere you go, you're sensing, right? You're sensing some sort of sensation, something, some sort of stimuli, right? So taking a moment to take those deep breaths and focusing on those senses can be a powerful thing. So right now, as we're working to have that state of relaxation, right? And we might want to close our eyes here and really see and tune in to that world of sound around us. You might be able to hear the world around you as a bunch of discrete individual sounds, pinpointing each and every single one. Maybe it's a totality, a wholeness. One sphere of sound that you're experiencing right here, right now, in this moment. Taking a few moments, experiment listening to different sounds. Don't judge the sounds as good or bad. Treat them with that curiosity. What does it sound like? How does that sound arise? evolve, and disappear back into the silence. Continuing that focus with your sound. Let's try to hear the totality of sound on our eardrums.